Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. For the second straight season, our Pete Prisco has high expectations at Lambeau Field, saying the Green Bay Packers can not only win the division, but also win it all if the pieces fall in the right place. And so with the season right around the corner, what other teams will challenge in the postseason? As you take a look, there is our guy, Pete Prisco. He is here in studio with us, alongside our good friend, Lige Duzable. Going to give us some expectations for the postseason. We're going to go NFC versus AFC. And guys, we're going to start in the AFC. Pete, want to bring up your playoff teams over in the AFC. It all starts with the Bills getting that 1 seed, the Jags, Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, Broncos, Texans. So let's kind of break this down. And Pete, the first place my attention goes to here is actually at the bottom, where you have the Jaguars there at 7. Talk us through the confidence, because you've been out at practice. What's in the water that has you convinced the Jags to be postseason bound?
A, I don't think the division's great. B, their schedule's favorable. C, I think they're going to be much better than they've been. I think Travis Hunter's going to be amazing as a corner and put up big numbers as a wide receiver as well. And I think Trevor Lawrence has improved because Liam Cohen has tightened everything up. If you've watched all his tape in the preseason, he's a different player, a different quarterback. There are some concerns. I think defensive tackle's a concern. You want to play still? They
just traded for Collins Saunders.
Yeah, but they need more than that.
Yeah.
But I still they need guys back. And now today, I guess Mason Smith and Eric Armstead are finally back on the practice field.
Yeah.
So I think the talent is better. I think the team is better. I think they have a chance to be a wild card team. I'm not saying with 100% certainty they will be, but I look at the bottom of the division. I'm concerned about the Chargers at bottom of the AFC because the Chargers, not having Slater is big for them. And I know they're moving Ald over there, but I think it's an entirely different guy. Slater, you knew, 100% lock him up, and I think that's big for the Chargers. So I put the Jaguars in over the Chargers.
So I had to flip. I have the Chargers in instead of the Jaguars. Okay. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to prove it to me. And again, me and Pete have had this conversation ad nauseum in regards to the potential that Trevor Lawrence has, right? You see it last season, 2-8. First and foremost, he has to be available, Pete. He hasn't been healthy over the last year and a half. I go back, people always say, well, they were leading the AFC 2 years ago, and then he gets hurt, and then they lose like 5 in a row. Everybody's banged up past week 4 in the NFL, so that's not an excuse I'm trying to hear. First and foremost, they're paying you $55 million a year. You need to be available and be on the field, and you got to be consistent, right? That's the issue with Trevor Lawrence. Now, I love Liam Cohen coming over there because if he can't get right with him, he can't get right with anybody else, right? We saw what Baker Mayfield did. He had a career year, had an MVP-type year last year with Liam Cohen at the end, and he'll try to take some pressure off him by running the ball, but you talked about it. They do have better playmakers. De'Ami Brown, people need to start talking about this kid more. I was surprised the Commanders let him go. I'm real interested to see how Liam Cohen uses his skill set because he was a guy that really could stretch the field and get down the field. I think he'll open things up for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It'll be interesting to see Travis Hunter as well. What does his snap count look like? Does he play a majority of the offense and defensive plays? Already got banged up, missed the second week of the preseason. But to me, it comes down to Trevor Lawrence. There's no more excuses. You have Liam Cohen. You have the subsequent O-line. They fixed that. They gave you weapons on the offensive side. This is your time to shine.
It's interesting, too, they're trying to get back to the postseason for the first time since 2022, where we saw that crazy game against the Chargers. So interesting stuff to keep our eye on. Let's go to the 5 seed, a team we just saw play last night, the Cincinnati Bengals, going to get into the postseason. Pete, what makes you convinced that they're ready to take that next step? Because
I don't think that defense you saw last night is what you're going to see during the regular season. I'm a big believer in Al Golden. I think Al Golden's a really good coach, and I think they have corners who can play man-to-man, which they had those guys, and Lou Anarumo never used them in man-to-man, and he looked miscast his own guys. I think they're going to be better in the secondary. I do think Hendrickson's going to sign and show up. He'll get a new deal, and I think they'll be better on defense than they've been. The offensive line still has a couple concerns, but I think if the 2 tackles stay healthy, they'll be fine up front. This team's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to be a dynamic offensive team, and they almost made the playoffs next year. I think the defense will be a little bit better than it was last year and get them in.
Jack, go ahead and put that graphic back up with the defense rankings of last year and the year before, because that's the issue for me, right? Again, they can be good in man coverage and all that, but if they can't stop the run, it doesn't matter. Now, they played significantly better the last 4 weeks, but again, Lou Anarumo is no longer there. You see it, the points per game went down about 10 points per game. But to me, stopping the run. They brought in T.J. Slayton, who I really love from the Green Bay Packers, and I thought he could be maybe their DJ Reader because they've missed a guy like that in the middle of their defense. B.J. Hill still hasn't participated yet, so that's a little bit concerning that he hasn't participated in any preseason games because he's also a really good player. And then also the Trey Hendrickson issue. But to me, you could have all the cover corners in the world, but if a team is able to line up and punch you in the mouth and run the football, it doesn't matter. We saw last year, Pete, you know, in losses, the Bengals offense still put up over 27 points a game. Like, they scored almost 30 points a game in losses. So that is the issue, the Achilles heel. And again, the Bengals decided that we were going to change our personnel. We're going to change the coach. So we will see. But from what we've seen, again, it's early. It's the preseason. They still have not been able to stop the run.
Don't tell me you have the Jets in that spot.
No. I told you the Chargers, I said.
Well, they're the 7, so who's the 6? You got to have another wild card team.
Who did I have in there? It wasn't
the Steelers?
No, I didn't have the Steelers. I think I didn't put the Bengals in the playoffs though. I didn't put the Bengals or the Jacksonville.
If you take the Bengals out, if you take the Jaguars out, you put the Chargers in. You take the Bengals out, you got to put somebody else in. I put the Jets in.
No, I didn't put the Jets in. I don't know why I'm having a brain fire.
That's all right. We'll come back. We'll come back to it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't put the Bengals. I put the Bengals at 7.
Shout out to producer Jack.
He just destroyed the Bengals and he puts them in.
Okay, let's flip the page and talk about the number 1 seed in the AFC. There you have it, being the Bills, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, Pete. But this is the year that you are feeling wedding bells in Buffalo.
That team is loaded across the board. And you look at them, and everybody will say, well, they don't have the wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver. They're good enough there. They didn't have Kincaid last year. Kincaid was a shell of himself. He's back to being healthy again. He gives them something in the middle of the field that they hadn't had. And once he gets in the middle of the field, then Josh Allen can spread the ball around. In talking to Joe Brady at camp, one of the things he said, look, I don't have to have a number 1 wide receiver. Josh Allen needs to get the ball to the guy who's open. Forget about the number 1 wide receiver. At times they press to get the ball to Diggs, and that's never a good thing. When he was there, I think they'll be better offensively. Cook's back, and he's happy. That's a good thing. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're 10 deep on that defensive line. When guys come back, they're going to have to get rid of guys because they have 10 guys that can play. Now, is there an elite guy there? No.
Yeah.
But when Bosa's healthy, if he's healthy all the way through the season, he's a dynamic edge player that can give them that in January when they need it.
Who do you trust as safety besides Taylor Rapp?
Because I think Cole Bishop's going to be a good player. He's been hurt.
We haven't seen it. That's what I'm saying.
He was back this week, but he's back on the field. But Cole Bishop, and they have big, high hopes for Cole Bishop.
I love them coming out of Utah, but that's the concern. We haven't seen it yet. So, like, besides Taylor Rapp, like, who do you trust at the safety position? And then even at corner, right, when you talk about the depth, Maxwell Harrison got hurt a little bit, has missed a majority of camp. Also, Tre'Davious White comes in, but he's getting up there in age as well. So, opposite of Christian Benford, that was the issue for them. And you talked about being 10 deep on the defensive line. To your point, their issue was they couldn't get after the passer. Who's the one guy you can circle and be like, that guy is going to be able to affect the quarterback?
Bosa. He's got to be on the field.
He has to be healthy.
He's on the field. They're going to protect him. They'll put him in bubble wrap until December and January and say, go get it. By the way, Greg Russo might be bigger than I've seen him. He's even bigger.
Yeah, he was out here training with me at Bommarito, so he looks good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He looks fantastic. He could be a big-time edge rusher, too.
All right, so we're looking at the Bills representing the AFC and Pete Prisco Super Bowl predictions. Let's go over to the NFC. Here is Pete's organization there. I mean, Pete, Bucks, 1 seed. Why?
Because the division's they got four layups in the division.
4? You think Atlanta's a layup?
No, I'm talking about the Saints and the Carolina.
I don't think Carolina's a layup this year.
I do.
I'm trying to tell you, Carolina's not going to be a layup.
I think you're a big believer in Bryce Young. I'm not. So
you never have been.
No. So 4 layups. They split with the Falcons. There's 5. So plus I love the makeup of this team. They have everybody back on the offense. Once Wirfs gets back, everybody's back. And they add Ibuka to the passing game.
Yeah.
I mean, this team has got all the talent in the world on the offensive side of the ball, and I think defensively, the mix of young and old is good. What they've done in the secondary will change the way they play. They moved Tyke Smith from corner to safety.
Correct.
So now you have 2 guys in Winfield Smith who can both run and tackle. Gives him a lot of coverage ability. They love Benjamin Morrison. At some point during the season when he's healthy, he's going to take over for Dean. Jacob Parrish has been great as a nickel corner. So the secondary is much improved. And the name to keep an eye on, Elijah Cansey's ready to take his game to superstar status. This is the year when he stays on the field. Remember, last 2 years he's been hurt in training camp. Now he's back healthy. It's time for him to go to the next level. I love everything they've done in the offseason. To me, they're the team to beat in the NFC.
Has there been a report on how long Wirfs is going to be out?
Talking to the people in that organization, it'll probably be 4
4 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the edge the Falcons will get, and subsequently win the division. The biggest issue for the Atlanta Falcons was pass rush. I was surprised you didn't have them as a playoff team, and they got it in bunches in the draft. And they also got Leonard Floyd, who I know you know and respect. He's a guy that's consistent, 8 to 10 sacks every year. I do love the Bucs, and like you, I actually do have them going to the NFC Championship game, kind of like in 2020 when they were road warriors. I think that'll be the Bucs this year. Love what they do on offense. Now again, new offensive coordinator, never called plays before. We'll see.
That's a big difference.
We'll see how that comes to fruition. But I do love the pieces they added on defense. I just think I like the Atlanta Falcons a little bit more.
Well, the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game was against the Bucs in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
That's where we're going next, because you have my Cowboys in your playoff picture here, Pete, as we see them taking over the 6th seed there. I want to hear your why, but before, Lige, you've been talking to me all offseason long about why I should believe in this Cowboys team. So at this point of training camp, before we hear from Pete why he put them at 6, why are you believing in this Cowboys team?
I'm believing. I didn't have them making the playoffs. I have them going 9-8, so right outside the playoffs. But what people don't understand is Dak Prescott never has back-to-back losing season. Like going back to when he first started as a rookie, as a 4th-round pick. Also, CeeDee Lamb has needed a Robin to his Batman. And sure did they get it in what George Pickens can do on the outside. He's a big-body receiver, X-receiver. You put him on the outside, those 50-50 jump balls, he'll hold that safety to open up the middle of the field for CeeDee Lamb. I love their offensive line. We'll see how long Tyler Guyton is out, right, because that is a big blow to them. But if they can get that young offensive line to gel, they'll be good. Now, the biggest concern is the secondary, but in Old Bill, Kaiir Elam has actually looked pretty good throughout training camp, so we'll see if that goes over into the regular season. But I think this is a team that nobody is talking about that could make a push for the playoffs.
Look, the last time Dak Prescott played a full season, he led the league in touchdown passes.
MVP
He's back.
Number 2 in MVP voting.
You mentioned he has Pickens to go with Lamb. That'll change the way they play on offense. They're better on the offensive line. I think those young backs, I think Maffa or Blue, both of them will have talent. I love Blue. I think he's got home run speed. Can they stop the run? Biggest question mark is the 2 defensive tackles. Can they stop the run?
So far in the preseason, it has not looked that way. But regardless, let's talk about your Packers, Pete. And I'm going to keep calling them your Packers because you believe in them so much. 2nd straight year. Why the Packers?
When you look at that team, they were the youngest team in the league last year, and a lot of guys played. And I love that kind of formula where a lot of young players play going into the next year. Year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3. You grow up, and you become a better player. And I think you look at that team. Christian Watson's going to be back probably after a month of the season. I was watching him run after practice one day. I was amazed. They say it doesn't even seem like he had the injury. It's incredible. You know, you're getting Dobbs has had a great summer. I tell you what, Matthew Golden might be the real deal there. He hadn't dropped a pass. The offensive line's really good up front. They've gotten bigger and stronger because they had to. They overpaid the left guard, but they've gotten bigger and stronger. The question becomes what happens on defense. And people pick apart their corners. And in talking to them, they really and they were being honest with me. And they love Nate Hobbs, but they also love Valentine, and he's a good player. And they think he can be a really good player. So the safeties are fantastic. Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney. I think across the board. And by the way, Edgerrin Cooper is going to have a monster season at linebacker. Okay, president of the Packers fan club there. So Pete Prisco, Super Bowl, Bills, Packers. Pete, give us your winner. I'm going with the Bills. I think it's their time. Okay, that surprised me a little bit. Why? I just think this team is built to win right now, and the schedule will get them the #1 seed. If you look at they don't play a game west of the Texans. The furthest west they go is Houston, okay? Then they play the opening schedule. If you read it down, the first 7 weeks of the season, before they play the Chiefs, I think it is in week 8, they could be 7-0. And I know you'll look at the schedule and say the Jets are on there somewhere, but they can be. You know it's tough for Josh Allen at MetLife. It is tough. It is tough. But the bottom line is they're such a good team. If they don't win 14 games, and look at that schedule. Raven, that's a tough home opener, but Sunday night you should win at home. You're supposed to win at home. Then at the Jets. 4 of the first 5 at home. Good Lord. Yeah, look at that schedule. And then they get before the Chiefs, then they got everybody's at home. I would say week 12 through 15 gonna tell the story though. 12 through 15? Yeah. All right, so Pete Prisco taking the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year. It is officially their time. Guys, we appreciate the conversation as always. We'll see if it comes true. Obviously, football season right around the corner. We'll keep you updated with all the latest when it comes to the NFL and all the sports right here on CBS Sports HQ. Scan that QR code to get locked in right now.